Part 51. The Prince's Guard Army wants to wipe out the barbarians in one fell swoop. Babu So stepped out first, not noticing a dark shadow flashing past at another fork in the corner. The black shadow cat leaned on the waist, got into another passage, turned a few more bays and then stopped. This place is not like a slender passage, but it is more spacious. And it is no problem to accommodate a dozen people. There were already a few people waiting there, and when a familiar figure came in, someone lit an oil lamp, and they were the village patrol people. Luji, how is it? How many people are there? Where are they now? Someone asked impatiently. At this time, Xiao Luzi's heart was still thumping violently. He glanced around, but he didn't see anyone he was familiar with. He didn't answer and asked, "Where's General Ji? Is General Ji back?" Seeing everyone shaking their heads, Xiao Luji, the 6 sons couldn't bear the excitement, and said excitedly, "You don't know, General Ji is so powerful that he killed 2 barbarians alone." Everyone exclaimed, "Really? Hurry up and say it. We listen. How did General Ji kill the enemy?" They are all members of the patrol team in the village. After the villagers have settled down, they will gather here, just waiting for the need to attack. Xiao Luji was triumphant and told the truth about the scene just now. Everyone showed their reverence. General Ji was worthy of being a member of the guard army. He was so powerful. If only they could be so powerful. After Xiao Luji finished speaking, he was still unfinished. "I want that thing in General Ji's hand, so that I can kill the enemy." He sighed and admired. "General Ji may still be staring at them over there, so I come back and report to everyone first. They have already headed to the C character channel, and General Jiyu is here, and these people will definitely not be able to please them." Everyone was also excited, and they were able to kill the enemy like General Ji. What they wanted to do, someone immediately stood up and said, "Let's go. Let's help too." Although they didn't have a weapon like the one used by General Ji, they also had hoes and kitchen knives which could kill the enemy. Everyone nodded. This is their territory. If the enemy comes in, don't even think about getting out alive. As General Ji said, they kill as many as they come. They are led by General Ji, so what are they afraid of? You have to hit the enemy head on. The sky was getting darker and darker. Nuha stared at the entrance of the passage, and the people sent out from the back had not made any movement. They were all the bravest men on the grassland, and it was easy to deal with the southerners. It's just delayed for so long. Is there something wrong? Impossible? They are all prepared to take precautions. It is impossible to be like this the first time. Thinking of the first 5 people who went down, he was still confident, but now he is not sure. Everyone is looking forward to it, just hoping to wait for good news. Damuel frowned slightly, thinking of the prince's instructions when he was about to set off, and looked at Nuha. Hesitant in his heart, maybe they should stay away from here to be safer. He saw the terrain below, which is not good for them. What is the difference between sending people down in groups and sending them directly to death? Even if they all go in, they will only be slaughtered. He opened his mouth. What did he want to say? Seeing the movement at the entrance, Nuha has already taken the first 2 steps. "I saw a man covered in blood crawling inside. Who would it be if it wasn't Babu So?" Babu So still had a short arrow stuck in his arm. He wiped his face in embarrassment. When he saw the general, he breathed a sigh of relief. Thinking of what happened below, he still had lingering fears and finally escaped. Nuha looked him up and down and said solemnly, "Why are you alone? What about the others? Did you catch the southerners?" Babu So shook his head in frustration. "General, our people have all been plotted to death. The subordinates managed to escape." Nuha pulled out his knife, glared angrily, and shouted, "You bastard! The person who entered with you didn't escape, but you have the face to come out?" Nuha has already moved. In order to kill. Their Shishi country's men were only killed in battle and never escaped. Babu So left his own people and escaped alone, and there was no need to live. Babu So was trembling. Because he was too arrogant. He didn't expect that the sheep who had been bullied by them had turned into a pack of wolf cubs. They were all fierce and the terrain was narrow. There is no way to effectively attack, only to be used as a target. They were all fierce and the terrain was narrow. There is no way to effectively attack, only to be used as a target. Nuha's knife was finally held down by Damuel. General, don't be impatient. Although Babu So is wrong, he is not guilty of death. We have a small number of people, and we have a lot of losses. Why don't we let him take the blame and make merit? And then punish him when he goes back. Let's listen to him talk about the following situation first, otherwise, we don't understand the situation. How can we deal with it? He also made sense. Nuha listened to it anyway, put the knife down. When he went back, he snorted heavily. I'll spare your life for now, and next time. I'll use you as a sacrifice for the dead brother. Babu So saved his life. How dare he say anything more? He can only repeat it should be, tell the following experience. They continued to walk forward. Unexpectedly, there were organs in front of them that fired dark arrows. After they managed to avoid them, many people were slightly injured. Then, the floor was covered with animal fat, and they were burnt to death by a fire. This is still good. After they escaped, the nightmare began. There were already people waiting there, ready to close the net and wait to be harvested. The enemies who did not know where they came from, cut off their retreat. The saber on their waist is a weapon for killing people on horseback. Now here, because of the terrain, the saber is too long, so I can't show it. This battle is really frustrating. He watched his brothers fall one by one, but he could do nothing. Originally, he also wanted to fight to the death, but was pulled. Someone blocked a knife for him, and pushed him out of the battle circle. Go back alive and tell the general about the situation here. This was the last shout. Babu So staggered. He listened. Yes, he had to go back and tell the general everything. Otherwise, he didn't know how many brothers he would lose. He told everything with tears in his eyes. Nuha's face was ashen, so he couldn't rashly send someone down, otherwise he would also go to die. But I have lost so many brothers, and I can't bear to spare them all in vain. They hide in the ground and the food supplies are below. Even if they stay there for 10 days and a half month, they will not starve to death. Instead, they will not be able to survive because of lack of food. Is there any way to drive them out? Nuha asked after a bit of anger. Damuel thought for a while, then stood up and said, General, the enemy is nothing more than flooding and attacking the enemy. Maybe we can think of a way to do this. Flooding the fire with water is basically useless. Nuha frowned, hesitating in his heart. It's like a tortoise shell, there is no flaw, there is no way to take him. As long as you stretch out your hand, it will stick out your head and bite you from time to time. This is distressing. General, why don't you try smoking? Babu So said. In the past, there were rabbit holes in the grasslands, mouse holes, etc. As long as the smoke was lit, the small things in the hole could be smoked out, but I didn't know if it would work here. What Babu So wanted most at the moment was to avenge the dead brothers, and naturally he had a very positive idea. Damuel frowned and reminded, General, since the wolf smoke is lit here, I think the news has already spread. If we wait for enemy reinforcements, we are afraid that we will be attacked by the enemy. Nuha waited around. Damuel's words are right. They still have tasks on them, and they can't take risks. But just go like this, what's going on? Babu So was anxious. This place is remote, and even if the reinforcements come, they will not arrive so quickly. Even if they come, they are just shrimp soldiers and crab generals who came to deliver vegetables. Most of the garrisoned red robes are still involved in Shichong Gate. The reinforcements can only be the guard army. We are the Suishi Iron Cavalry. Are we afraid of such an army that has never been on the battlefield? Everyone was indignant, and when they heard Babu So's words, they all agreed. That's right. They are not afraid of anyone in an open and honest fight. Such a trick like this is really hateful. The enemy reinforcements came just in time, and a good fight could make them feel bad. Nuha figured in his heart that their mission on this trip was to divert the guards. Perhaps it would be too late to retreat after they were forced out. Thinking of this, he no longer hesitated and directly adopted Babu So's method. Everyone took active action, collected firewood and ignited it, and determined to smoke out the people in the underground cave. However, do not look at who proposed the underground passage. Ming Yu had already thought of this at the beginning of the design, and told the craftsman what he thought. Then everyone worked together to make suggestions to improve it a lot. Naturally, it was guarded when it was built. Water flooding or fire attack could not damage it. As for the use of fireworks to smoke, the tunnels extend in all directions. And there are special vents, so how can you be afraid of this kind of trick? The purpose of Ming Yu's tunnel design is to protect the villagers, which can ensure that the villagers are very safe inside. At this time, in the spacious basement of the underground passage, Xiao Luji kept circling around Ji Yu, and his bright eyes were full of admiration. General Ji alone almost wiped out half of the barbarians who entered the tunnel, so why didn't he admire him? Those barbarians are rumored to be like floods and beasts, and now it seems that they are no more than that. Well, they easily killed more than a dozen people. And the enemy didn't even have any power to fight back. Bing muttered, and said regretfully, why didn't these people send people in? I didn't kill the barbarians. But you all robbed mine. Not enough addiction. Ji Yu smiled and rubbed his little head. This kid is still thinking about picking up a bargain. He was originally a young soldier in the Red Robe Army, but he was loaned to Prince Duan by his family, General Xie. Now that he was overdue, he was left behind by the prince and became a member of the guard battalion. The prince said in a beautiful name, he and General Xie are not separated from each other. What is yours is mine, and what is mine is yours. So, as General Xie's personal guard, why do you still use the Red Robe Army to the guard battalion? It's the same everywhere anyway, so why don't you just stay? Ming Yu's crooked reasoning was a set of sets, and he even persuaded General Xie, whose family had never been good at speaking, and nodded in agreement. This is good, the boss nodded. And now he has completely cut off his hope of returning to the Red Robe Army. But what the prince said is true. The Red Robe Army and the Guard Battalion have conducted several drills and trainings. They also send people to exchange and learn from each other. It is you who has me and I have you. The two sides are very friendly and mutual help. Where does Ji Yu stay? There really isn't much difference. As for why he appeared in this remote small village, he also obeyed the arrangement. Ever since Ming Yu learned from Xie Yishou that a group of barbarians entered Liangzhou, he instructed Mo Zhang to divide the guard battalion into several teams and go out to inspect Liangzhou. After all, Liangzhou is too big, and his men are too small, so he can only patrol in this way. As long as the villagers find the enemy, they will immediately light the wolf smoke. And they can notify the nearest patrolling guards so that they can come to support in time. The 10-member team of Ji Yu and the others were responsible for going to the villages one by one to notify the villages, so that the villages could take precautions and be more vigilant. In order to improve efficiency, they split up their actions. As a result, when Ji Yu first arrived here, he happened to meet the news that the traces of the barbarians were exposed. So, Jiyu is not in a hurry to leave. Killing barbarians is killing them everywhere. It is better to organize the actions of the villagers and protect the villagers. If he was right, the inspecting brothers would definitely arrive here as soon as they saw the news from Liangyan. If that's the case, you might as well wait here first. The people in the patrol team were still a little apprehensive. After all, the vicious name of the Yi bandit was out there. When they met for the first time, they were still in a hurry and panicked. And they didn't know what to do for a while. But when they learned that General Ji would stay to protect the villagers, they immediately had the backbone. General Ji is a remarkable figure in the guard camp. I heard that he used to be a member of the Red Robe Army. It was not easy for the prince to invite him to the guard camp. In the eyes of the people of Liangzhou, the Red Robe Army was a top hero. They specialize in killing the barbarians, and in the barbarian army it is as if they are no one in the world. When they mention the Red Robe Army, the barbarians will tremble, and they even run away when they see the Red Robe Army. With General Ji present, it is equivalent to having a talisman. They stayed at the training base for 2 or 3 months, so naturally they knew the people in the guard camp. This General Ji is also responsible for leading them to train together on weekdays. He is very familiar with the patrol team that went to train, and everyone admires him very much. Under Jiyu's arrangement, the Yi people sent several people to the tunnels for the first time. And they took advantage of the terrain to unknowingly and did not leave any of them without much effort. Now they finally understand that the tunnels they built can still be used in this way, not only to shelter the villagers, but also to kill the enemy. The first victory made everyone happy. They really killed the barbarian bandits. Isn't the barbarian bandit as fierce as a jackal invincible? The young people of the patrol team were delighted and excited. Their ancestors had been planting the land peacefully for generations. The barbarians came to loot and burn them. They were unarmed and could only be slaughtered by the barbarians like pigs and dogs. They didn't dare to resist, they could only submit to it, but it wasn't that they didn't want to resist, they were just too weak and powerless. Until now. They still feel like they were in a dream when they killed the barbarians, and it feels unreal. It turns out that they can too. This is true. Now they probably won't dare to send people down. They will send a few people to follow the movements of the barbarians anytime, anywhere, and the others can take turns to rest. Jiyu arranged. Yes. Everyone obeyed. Is the mood of the villagers okay? Are there any strange emotions? As patrol guards, you not only want to kill the enemy, but also protect your relatives, protect the elders and villagers behind you, and care about their thoughts. Jiyu was a little worried. These villagers had never seen such a battle. I am afraid that they will have a shadow or pressure in their hearts. I remember it all, Xiao Luji said loudly. The villagers are very good, and General Jiyu is here. They all believe that General Ji can protect everyone. They were very happy when they heard that we killed the barbarians. I said, when the barbarians are driven away, there will be a 3-day running water table in the village to reward us for killing the barbarians this time. Jiyu smiled and nodded. That's good. Don't worry, the barbarians can't escape. Yes. The guard army will come to support soon. As soon as these words came out, everyone felt relieved. Yes, when the soldiers of the guard battalion came, they would definitely wipe out the barbarians in one fell swoop, and they had confidence in the guard army.